Hello traders, this is Eagle Star, just here to show you a couple things when starting to build your charts. I'm going to go over the 5 major currency pairs: US dollar, Swiss, pound dollar, euro dollar, US dollar, Japanese yen, and Aussie dollar. So here we have the US dollar Swiss currency pair on the 4-hour chart. So when I'm looking at building a fork, I take the 3 major points: a high, a low, and a high. I grab the Pitchfork tool and I try to capture the most extreme of the points, like so. Afterwards, I highlight and make sure each point is magnetized to the extreme. After this, I can look and see if there's any places where frequency is similar and draw those in as sliding parallels. This will help my eyes when making a trade to project where price might stall, because sometimes there is an overshoot which leads to an undershoot. So for this example, we're pretty much finished, unless you want to add something here, but it's starting to break out of this sliding parallel, so I will remove it. Also, we can look at a potential up fork here. But also, as you can see, price is starting to break that fork bottom, so it might not be valid. So we'll leave it for now, but we may remove it quickly. Because for this particular fork, we want it to break this high. Here. And we're done. So now we're going to go to the pound dollar. Now for this one, we see that there are many highs and lows, but for this example, we want to take the 3 most recent, which is this low, this high, and this low. Now we start on the lows to the left if there is a double bottom or a double top. Magnetize, make sure that they're at the extremes. And then draw in the sliding parallel. Now as you begin to chart and trade, you're not always going to see the same things as I do or other people do, but you will be able to train your eyes as you get better. That looks like all I can do on this chart. Perhaps one up here as well. Now to the euro dollar 4-hour chart. Very similar pattern. Take a low, high, low, make sure that they are at the extremes of the bars. And draw in our sliding parallels. They're not always going to be crisp and clean, but you get the idea. So for this one I use the bottom right low because it's giving me better action on this bars to the downside, and it's capturing price better on this sliding parallel here. And any of these you could have bought and be in profit at this point. So let's go to the US dollar Japanese yen 4-hour chart. And I did modify this fork a little bit in the ones that I had posted before because I liked it a little bit more for this time frame. And we can also draw the up fork and color it a different color. As well as make sure the points are on the extreme, like so. And we see here that we do have one small sliding parallel that may give us some action in the future. And price is also coming up against resistance around the 102.60 area. So to consider buys on this, we'd want it to keep going up, break a new high, and come back down to give us the opportunity to buy towards the median line and exit. Now we will go to the Aussie dollar for our chart. So for this example, we're going to take a wide fork, and I'm going to show you a couple of interesting things. Now for the purpose of action and reaction, we see that the tail here on the fork is giving us good action. And many times when this happens, it means that this fork is a part of a larger action and reaction set. So I'm going to highlight also where the fork went through and is bouncing on this. 4 times it went, zoomed through, came back down, and retested the median line and went up. So this means that this particular fork here, the median line in the fork, is holding price correctly and has good frequency. Now it does look like price is stalling up around here. So that is one concern of mine. But overall, the fact that price is staying above this line means that price is bullish. And we could draw in a downward sloping line just for show to see if we might have any action here, but I don't see anything yet. Perhaps on a smaller time frame. So now we will go to the 1 hour time frame for these same currency pairs. US dollar Swiss 1 hour chart, and see if it's possible to find any trading opportunities. Now for this particular pair, I'm going to use the 4 hour fork because price is too volatile and is narrowing in this range for me to be able to trade any larger time frame, any larger fork on a smaller time frame, I mean. So let's see what we can get. And sometimes this is beneficial as well when trying to pinpoint precise entries to see the larger fork within the time frame. You see multiple touches here and rejection. And then we draw in the upsloping fork to see a possible break. To the upside. Now when we zoom in, let me make sure this is correct. Now when we zoom in, you can see that there was action on this fork on the bottom here. A few hits on the bottom. But price just isn't really showing us anything. So we can draw in a smaller fork to try to position ourselves for a possible break to the upside. But again, you want to see some recent highs taken out before you enter long. And I'm even more biased towards continued downside momentum. The price could turn over and start to go up here. It just depends on what price gives us. For the pound dollar, a similar case where prices got to an extreme and really isn't giving us anything to trade worthwhile on a smaller fork on the smaller time frame. We just see a lot of movement in here towards the downside. We can draw on the larger fork that we had on the previous chart. Just a preference, I like to use blue, deep sky blue, and magenta. So, draw in the sliding parallel. We notice some touches there, right? And as I was looking at this chart on the smaller time frame, I started to notice this as well. And here we have the sliding parallels that are working very well now. So as price is drifting down, it's hitting these sliding parallels, and you could be placing a trade short on any one of those touches. If you're conservative, your profit target would be the bottom of this range within the frequency of the fork. But if you're more aggressive, as price continues to press down, you may be looking for this sliding parallel, this median line to the upside, or even this median line, the pink median line, as a potential target. On to the euro. Draw in the most major 3 points, low, high, and low, or high, low, high. And remember, I still sometimes use the same fork I drew on a 4-hour to spot clearer entries on a smaller time frame. But that's just my preference. Draw on the sliding parallel. And we notice again that price is touching this and bouncing up. Now as we look at this fork, let me draw in this here. We start to notice that price might be losing energy and becoming less efficient. And by the way, this is another sliding parallel here. But as we notice this, we can even draw in a down fork to see, maybe price is going to reject. Now we're not going to take any trades on this because price is still in an uptrend, even though it's sort of ranging a little bit, but it gives us something to think about. And here we notice that price is not quite breaking through it, but when it does, we can erase this line, but we can leave it here for right now to see what happens. Now to the US dollar, Japanese yen. And here is kind of interesting as well. We can do the most recent high, low, high to see how price cuts in through that. Or like so. And branch it out to a warning line. See if price is showing us anything on the warning line. Not really. One moment. So what we're going to do is zoom out a little bit and see what we can find. So this blue fork is working okay, but it's not really giving us anything that we can look at right now. So let's take it off and start to try to hunt. We can use the previous fork that we drew on the 4-hour chart. Low, high, low. Okay. Drawing some sliding parallels. Okay. But what about any 1 hour forks? Let's see if we can find some. Something that might be able to give us a trade. Recent high, low, high might be able to do it for us. And bingo. We're seeing something happen here on this fork. So this fork is showing us that it's working. Why is that? Because as price reached this extreme, it was rejected. So what does that mean? So we're in a predominantly bullish trend, but yet as price is hitting this fork, it's dropping. So it can either be a retracement within this fork, or it could be a change of direction and change of trend. So what we want to do is see if this low will be broken here. And if it continues to drop, we might be able to enter a short somewhere to go towards the median line. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, I did forget the Aussie dollar 1 hour chart. 1 second. So this is a major drop here. We might be able to build a modified shift off of it, but let's zoom out for 1 second and check. Okay, let's see if we can build a modified shift off of this drop. And see if this fork holds any frequency. Nope. It's actually an upward fork. Well, it does show a little bit of frequency on the bottom. Let's redraw it in again. It does show a little bit of frequency on the bottom here, but not much I really want to trade off of. Let's see. Perhaps we can draw a regular fork. And we do have some touch here. So let's see what we can do. We can build this fork up with some sliding parallels. Like so. And even a new up fork, because price is making new highs, even though they aren't that great. So there you have it. I know this isn't the best up fork for this particular pair, but the low is still held here, and it may fall back into here to give you a chance for a long entry. And also this sliding parallel does look like it does have good frequency. Let me check. There you go. So you do have some touches on this line. Thanks for watching.